you're interested in blunt, unvarnished truth about how entrepreneurs really create top income, wealth, independence, and sustainability. Not everyone is ready for such a conversation. Some prefer good excuses to difficult achievement. Others prefer fantasy to reality. I'm Dan Kennedy. What I'm about to show you will radically change your thinking about what you invest your time in, what's really important when it comes to making money, and the way you communicate about your ideas, products, services, and worth to the world. I want to introduce you to a much more sophisticated way of creating power for yourself in a cluttered marketplace. And I want to free you forever from the bondage of the shiny object syndrome. That syndrome has people furiously hopping after one shiny object after another, yet winding up in the same place months and thousands of dollars later. Just for the record, I didn't dream any of this up last night. I have a 35-year track record of creating multimillionaires and seven-figure income earners. I myself am a made-from-scratch multimillionaire serial entrepreneur, and I'm doing real work in the trenches right now. In fact, last year alone, the combined revenues of my small cadre of private clients exceeded $1 billion. And before we're done, you'll realize I'm allergic to BS and respectful only of what really works. I have never done a free video series like this before, but I agreed to do it now for two reasons that may be important to you. I am ever more disgusted with the made-up yesterday magic pills and easy buttons being peddled one after the other like the fake medical cures from the backs of wagons by traveling pitchmen at the turn of the century. I hate seeing people led down dead ends. Second, I'm very aware of how difficult this recession that will not end is for many business people and ambitious individuals eager to get into businesses of their own. I launched my businesses in the Jimmy Carter recession with more than 12% unemployment, 12% inflation, and 12% base interest rates, so I know. I've been called a number of times to reinvigorate entire industries, to lead some group to new opportunity when it seemed there wasn't any. I consider myself a champion of people eager to stand on their own 2 feet, and I have heard the call now. If that sounds pretentious, so be it. But I know that I can show anyone willing to pay attention how to create their own economy and prosper even while all around them people struggle, incomes shrink, and fear and anxiety reign. So I have two promises for you. One, I promise to take you beyond just another trick or two that might bump up conversions on a website temporarily, or that everybody is excited about momentarily, and show you a system for influence that you can quickly begin using to make significantly more money across all your communication channels. Whatever business you are in, local or global, small or large, offline or online, this can boost income now and, more importantly, lift you to an entirely new level of attraction of the kind of customers or clients you'd most like to have. This can strengthen results with your email, pay-per-click video, even Facebook and Twitter posts. You can even apply it to the latest hot money-making tool, he said tongue-in-cheek, direct mail. If you're already in business, this can raise its results. If you're still finding your way to a profitable business, this will cut through confusion and give you clarity. If you aspire to be rich, this goes, as I said, way beyond little tricks. You can walk into a magic shop and buy off-the-shelf tricks and use them to entertain kids and friends, but you'll never be a great magician. I'll be sharing with you what being a real money-making magician is all about. Two, I will, in this video series, reveal the most powerful secret of attracting opportunity, support, and cooperation from others, capital when needed, customers and clients in abundance, and of creating sustainable businesses. Once you hear it, you'll be able to see the secret at work with all highly successful people. You'll realize what you must create for yourself to change the making of a lot of money from difficult to easy. This secret made Houdini a multimillionaire before there was any media. It made me, a high school graduate with no family resources, rich from scratch before the internet. It made the Kardashians $28 million last year with every media, including social media. Keep this in mind. Too much focus on media, not enough on the creation of magnetic influence with media. Grasp of this principle can change everything. You do not need any special background, education, or skills to use this, other than commitment to use it. You can apply it to anything you are passionately interested in or knowledgeable about. I have students using what I'll share here with online businesses in health, fitness, and hobbies like quilting, teaching and coaching, from investing in real estate to becoming a best-selling author, all of whom have increased their incomes by double to 10 times in the past 24 months. In online businesses of every kind, similar results. A local professional went from $30,000 a month to $400,000 a month in 5 months. You'll meet people later who can personally testify. For now, know you can turbocharge your ability to attract and achieve with this information. I need to begin with a story. It's not about a law-abiding character, not about a role model, but for one key, it demonstrates the value of taking aggressive action based on fundamental principles. It reveals the opportunity I have for you. It also demonstrates one of the 7 gold keys to influential communication and game-changer marketing. This, number 4, people buy stories, not stuff. Anyway, Benny Binion has a statue erected to him in Las Vegas, where he was a founding father of casinos. He also created the now famous World Series of Poker. His father was a horse trader, and he took little Benny along on his trips and introduced him to gambling. Benny introduced himself to losing. After a long run of chasing the next big score and being chased by bookies and others he owed money to, Benny had a breakthrough. Stop here for a second. You're probably not a desperate, degenerate gambler, but that shiny object syndrome I spoke of is like this, chasing the big score, looking for magic, when real achievement is always based on implementation of sound fundamentals. Benny's breakthrough was the realization that he was on the wrong side of the equation. I call it being on the wrong side of the cash register. He reasoned, why shouldn't I be the guy everybody hands their money over to, instead of the guy handing over the money? For Benny, this was a game changer. He became a bookie. And when he discovered he had an arch competitor, Dirty Ben, claiming his Dallas, Texas territory, on September 12, 1936, Benny Binion emptied all but one round of his Colt 45 into that competitor's chest, then turned the 45 on himself and put the last bullet through his own shoulder so he could claim self-defense. It worked. Benny became king of the gambling rackets in Dallas, then took his ill-gotten gains to Vegas at its very start, established one of the most famous casinos, and later, the famed World Series of Poker. Let's talk about your breakthrough. Consider which side of the cash register you are on and change sides. Money is always moving. You want it moving to you, and you don't need a gun to eliminate competition. I'll show you how to place yourself in a category of 1 with influential communication. No shots ever fired. But remember, if you won't take aggressive action once you see the path, I can't help you. Repositioning yourself to be magnetically attractive to customers, to cooperation from others, to money is not about tricks. It's about fundamental principles. In the past few years, the internet space has been overrun with smart marketers trotting out new trick after new trick after new trick, new media platforms, new software, new money-making doohickeys. And people have been chasing these things like Benny, chasing after his next big score. You keep hearing that if you make a certain number of Facebook posts or tweets or put up enough videos in enough places or master the Google, that the world will beat a path to your doorstep. The thing is, in order to make this happen, you need to manage a time-consuming, confusing monstrosity of social media accounts, blogs, and video channels, and just when you're barely above water with it all, there's one more new gimmick. How's all that working out for you? Look, this pattern isn't something new. Business owners have long been advertising victims. Salespeople long told that if they just learn one more closing technique, all will be well. The bright, shiny object syndrome has been a destructive force for a long time. It holds people hostage to activity instead of achievement. So let me get to the secret. Here it is. Ready? It's not really what you do, what media you use or don't use that creates wealth. It's doing it for the right who, and being recognized by them as the right who. In other words, it's about creating magnetic influence with people able and willing to reward you generously for your particular know-how or information or products or services. A deeper secret: the higher up the income hierarchy you go, the more you find people at the top are paid more for who they are than for what they do. Your big breakthrough just won't be found in yet another new trick bought off the shelf. It'll require you to actually be a magician. I can make that happen with a system for creating influence for yourself. If you have invested money and time in trick after trick and have been looking to media, websites, email, social media, print ads, mail, whatever, for your breakthroughs, I'm going to ask you to consider seeing those things only as tools. Tools alone are as useless as is construction without architecture, construction without solid foundation. You need a strategy for using tools. You need a foundation of self-created influence. Are you highly motivated to get rich? Well, motivation without foundation leads to frustration. Are you working hard? Most poor people work hard. You've been investing and learning and working and came here for a reason. You want a better income, a better life for your family, escape from the job you hate where you're disrespected and underpaid, or a reinvention of a business with great potential but disappointing income, freedom and independence. Maybe you've been in lust for the much-promised 4-hour work week with a millionaire's salary. So please listen. A long time back, I was broke, confused, and floundering about. For a time, I thought I needed just one more shiny object, another technique, another tool, another trick, even another opportunity. There came a point where I realized none of that mattered unless and until I created a solid foundation. The dream often put in front of you is one that I really live. My business life is arranged for my personal preferences. Work I enjoy, done on my terms, with people I pick for very high pay, with plenty of time to play with my 20 racehorses, my classic cars, at our 2 homes, and with many vacations. I have a lot of people making money for me in various ways, though I employ only one. I can guide you to all this, just as I have the people you now see on your screen. Some you undoubtedly know, maybe others not, but know this: I am their secret. You'll hear from some of them later. Even if you think they are about tricks, you're wrong. They've applied the secret I've been talking about here in many ways to make themselves rich now. Like Benny Binion, if you'll open your mind to it, you can have the same sort of breakthrough he did and join these people. You need to and can change your game. And if it is a lot more money from a lot less work that turns you on, for that you need leverage. During the rest of this video and throughout this free video series, I'm going to do my damnedest to convince you that most of what you've been told to do to make money has kept you running furiously like a hamster on a wheel, but leaving you in the same place you started, because it's kept you distracted by shiny objects instead of focused on creating fundamental strength and power that can be leveraged. If you feel like you've been trying hard but coming up short, much may not be your fault. After all, if you're given faulty directions, it doesn't matter how good a driver you are or how fast you race down that path. This is now about a different path, a path that has led countless people with nothing on you to riches. I call this path my Game Changer DNA system. I use the term DNA because this system focuses on making you more attractive to and influential with a market that will reward you for your interests, know-how, products, or services. It leverages the fact that high income is paid by others based on who you are to them, not what you do or what media you use. It creates powerful change at a fundamental level. Here's a kind of proof. Even though I famously refuse to personally use the internet at all, do not use email, do not have a cell phone, do not text, and have never even glanced at Facebook, what I teach is frequently credited with helping jumpstart the careers and grow the fortunes of some of the top internet marketers. Two of the reigning experts in pay-per-click, Perry Marshall and Tim Seward of ROI Revolution, have both followed my lead closely in using this secret I'm describing. The late Corey Rudel, as well as Yannick Silver and Perry Marshall, have all been personal coaching clients of mine. Russell Brunson, Frank Kern, and Andy Jenkins, all avid followers. One recently told me that without my teachings, many internet gurus would still be selling $37 ebooks. Well, I'd like to take all the credit, but it's a bit much. Whether we're talking about a committed online marketer, or a locally based financial advisor, or the owner of a retail shop, or an inventor with an ingenious product, or a direct marketing entrepreneur, if they are rich, getting rich, and sustaining wealth, they are leveraging everything in my Game Changer DNA system. I suppose I have had more influence on more from-scratch millionaires and multimillionaires than anybody else. But what's important here and now is what I might install in your business life. Don't forget Benny's breakthrough. Think about it. This is your opportunity to have that breakthrough. Up to this point, I have mostly taught this secret and the specific applications of it to private clients, beginning with $18,800 consulting days and usually in ongoing relationships, for which I'm paid from $34,000 to $100,000 a year, and in in-depth multi-day small group trainings requiring fees of thousands of dollars plus time away from your home or business. And the parts have been separated in different places in different resources. I only very recently organized it all into the new Game Changer DNA system. After reviewing an earlier version, Bill Glazer came to me and said it was my best and most dramatically powerful work ever. He urged that we launch it in the internet space, starting out with this series of free videos. As I told you, I've never done such a series, nor have I ever presented information of this advanced nature free and for wide public consumption. But I was persuaded, so here I am. In the next video in this free series, I'm going to reveal, explain, and demonstrate actual applications of the secret I've been describing here, which are at the very core of the Game Changer DNA system. When I'm done, you will say to yourself, yes, I could do that. And yes, it is obvious that it could be a game changer in my life. You will also be introduced to all 7 of the gold keys to influential communication and game changer marketing. Now, if you want something as simple as a way to make more money quickly, I promise you'll get it in this next video. But I believe that it should never just be about the making of money, but about how you make your money. If you agree, if being happier with the life you live, more in control of your business, making big money from what genuinely interests you, not some cookie-cutter gimmick, then this next video may very well change your life. I know that's too commonly said and smacks of empty hype, but my track record and people you'll meet in this series attest to its reality. I have 2 requests of you at the moment. First, leave me a comment or a question or both below. I'm kind of used to working in a room with an audience. I need to know somebody's out there. Second, I want to ethically bribe you to get the word out about what I'm doing here quickly, so as many people as possible can benefit now, because this will never repeat. Spread the word, please, via the social networks you use. Leave a comment in the Facebook comment area on the screen, and you have a chance to win a brand new Kindle loaded with 12 of my favorite book titles. By the way, your comments and questions will be compiled and provided to me, so I will see them. Now, let me close with one more thought. One of the most influential statements I ever heard about success, I fortunately heard when still very young on a recording by a man named Earl Nightingale. Earl said that if you were setting out to accomplish something and had no role models to emulate, you could get a good start by looking at what everybody else was doing and not doing it, because statistically, the majority is always wrong, especially when it comes to money. I've since phrased it this way: sheep don't own limousines or live in mansions or fly about in private jets. What's popular is not necessarily profitable except for those popularizing it. I know that what's hot is hot, and I'm often not. I'm not trendy, but I will match up against any teacher the number of people who attest to making millions of dollars following my lead and who continue following my lead for 7, 10, 15, even 25 years. What I have waiting for you in the next video has stood the ultimate test, the test of time, and is at work this minute, making the incomes and lives of those who know it richer. Tools change constantly. Media changes constantly. All that's fluid, not foundational. But there are certain principles of magnetic influence that are as reliable as is gravity that can be applied by you to any money-making enterprise, that make all practical tools more powerful, all viable media more useful, and make reaching goals easier and more certain.